Hey guys, in all my previous videos, I've taught you about the tools of programming. I've shown you how for and while loops work, I've shown you about if and else statements, and I've showed you how to create matrices in MATLAB, in addition to other things we've learned throughout the course. But in this video, I really want to talk about what is the computational thinking process and what is programming. Because while you may think that this is a CAM department course, this is actually more of a comp department course. What this course is teaching you is the ideas of computer programming and how to think like a computer scientist. So what is this idea of computational thinking? Well, I've included this figure here on the side that I think really well breaks down the idea of computational thinking. But in essence, computational thinking is just breaking down a larger problem into easier and manageable subproblems that are easy for a computer to solve. And I've also included my process when I go through a project and how I use the computational thinking process in order to complete a project. So let's go through it. The first thing that I always do when I get a new project is I think about what do I already know about the problem. It's always important to write down whatever background information you know because it will end up being useful within the project. Then I go about breaking down the problem into subproblems. And you guys are all going to have to do this within some point in the course because we're going to have projects that are larger than just a few lines of code. It'll be impossible to write it down just immediately. The only way to successfully complete it is to break down the project into manageable subproblems, problems that are easy for the computer to solve. And then once you have your subproblems of your project, well, you need to figure out how do I accomplish solving each of those subproblems. That's the matter of translating it from English into computer speak. How do we translate these subproblems into something that MATLAB will successfully understand? And that relies on having a good knowledge of syntax and understanding of the tools that I've taught you in the previous lectures. And then finally, once you solve each of these subproblems, how do you tie the subproblems together in order to complete the project? Each of these subproblems accomplishes a small part of the overall project. Then it's finally your job in order to tie these parts together in order to complete it. And then the final thing I'd like to emphasize is always thinking before you type. And this was something I struggled with a lot in this course and other computer science courses. I thought it would just be easier to start typing out code and eventually the project would come together. But over time I realized that the best way in order to complete any project is to plan it out. It's just like writing a paper. You do pre-planning. You figure out what your body paragraphs will be. You'll figure out what your intro and your outro will be. Well, this is the same with programming. You figure out each of your different subproblems, and those are like your bodies, and you develop the points of those bodies, and those are going to be the specific tools you're going to use. So I'd always think about pre-coding or pre-writing before you begin typing. It'll save you a lot of time, and I think it'll make you very good programmers. So I'll see you guys in the next one.